Here we go. Hello and welcome. We are live from the sanctuary. I am your host, Mary Ellen, with our very favorite psychic medium, Jerry McDaniel. How are you tonight?
Thank you very much. Thank you.
How are you?
Good. How about yourself? Busy, I'm sure.
Yes. Things have really just hit breakneck speed with our Spirit Fest fairs and everything, and I'm so excited. So many new events.
I'm excited about Jacksonville. I'll be there in Jacksonville. I mean, a lot of people will be there in Jacksonville.
Unexpected plug, but let me get the dates up here. July 10 and 11, the Schultz Center, Jacksonville. Yes. And if you go to our website, there's more information on there about it too. So anyway, I was just saying I made it to Portillo's, which is the big opening here in Orlando of the restaurant, the Chicago style restaurant. So if anybody else has made it there, they'll understand what the big deal is. It's
Chicago
definitely
food is great.
Oh, that's one thing. Yeah.
Chicago food is outstanding.
Yeah. I can see what the fuss is about is no fast food is super healthy, but I like that the food's not super processed and it's pretty fresh that you get there. But it's just cool. It's a cool vibe. I went in because the drive-through looked like it was going to be about 30 minutes long, but I heard later that they were going through giving out chocolate cake, which apparently is a huge thing. This chocolate cake there is supposed to be so great.
Oh, so I'm not supposed to have chocolate. I might have to go check it out though.
Yeah. And milkshakes. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It was really good. Anyway, highly recommend. So hello to everybody over on Facebook and YouTube. So we're
YouTube.
Yes, and we're trying to. So if you're watching us from YouTube, please send us a message through there. We eventually are going to be going over to just streaming live on YouTube. And then posting the link here on Facebook. So we're trying to get everybody used to that. So
yeah, YouTube's where the action is. Nothing against Facebook.
There's a lot of action here on Facebook as well.
Yes, there is. There is.
Yeah, but we're going to be doing more shows. And really kind of doing a bunch of different things, which you're just going to have to wait and see. We've got some exciting stuff planned. So. Cool. Anyway, we just thought that YouTube was a better place to sort of catalog everything, just to make it a little bit easier. So, but you can still always find us on Facebook because we'll point, post the link. That's what I'm trying to say. So,
yep.
Anyway, what's going on in the news? I just watched that. I tried to watch tonight to hear about Biden and Putin. It seemed like it went pretty well. Did you see anything about that?
The what now?
Biden and Putin.
The only thing I heard was, Biden stood his ground. And I think from what replay of what I saw, they held separate press conferences. I don't speak Russian, so I couldn't understand Biden's. I'm sure he did one and there's an interpreter. It's as long as they keep the conversation going. Just keep the conversation going. In fact, that was an ad by somebody. Keep the conversation going. I can't remember who it was now. As long as you can talk, as long as you can, even if you disagree, you're still talking.
Right.
And that's, like I said, I just caught some little things on the internet. Of course, if it's on the internet, it's got to be true.
Oh, of course.
I'm just kidding. But I saw a few things and yeah. And I think the most interesting thing is, you had suggested I watch, what's that movie about the fifth dimension? Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind or Fifth Kind. Like that.
Talked about that last week.
And they had mentioned, and not to talk about aliens, but it's a fascinating subject for me, as it is for you and some people, maybe not all the viewers. And in that, the guy revealed that or somebody did, that some of these, like extraterrestrials, whatever, can actually impact in a good way and prevent nuclear weapons from being launched. And this week, the Pentagon confirmed that there had been some UFOs. They're called now something else. I can't remember what it is. And that, what's that?
UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomenon. That's what they're trying to change that from UFOs.
To me, it's the same thing, but
Right.
UFOs just sounds easier to say, but they've admitted that there have been times when there have been UFOs near missile bases. It has interfered with their nuclear capabilities. And so you believe it, you don't believe it, whatever. But it had to really bother them, the Pentagon, to come out with something like that. And again, a lot of the Freedom of Information Act is, I guess there's a report coming out sometime in this month. I just don't know where it is. So anyway, a lot of things, I've attended, as we were talking before the show started, I've attended 3 church services in a row. 2 were spiritualist churches and 1 was a Catholic church, and it felt good to get out and do that. I've just always been hesitant because of my health and because of the pandemic and all that, but it just feels good, not to go around like a surgeon all the time. Anyway, I think things are good. And we're getting some rain. Granted, it's a lot of rain.
Yeah.
But we're getting some rain, which is good.
It is. So, we needed it for sure. And I never really minded wearing the mask. It just,
Right.
In fact, if I'm ever sick again, I probably would wear one. Or if I know that I'm going in a place, Disney Springs was a good example, because it doesn't, you can go in there without paying. It's to shop, so.
Right.
But a lot of people go there sick because they're on vacation and they're going to come sick because they don't want to lose their money that they paid for their vacation. And, I would not be afraid to wear them, especially since I've got.
No, I wouldn't. And, over in Japan, certain percentage of population wears masks all the time. You can see them on the street corners and stuff. And I say street corners. It didn't sound right. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say it like that, but you'd see them out on the street.
Right. Sorry.
And they're wearing masks. And this was years and years ago. So,
so they were kind of ahead of the game there. But
yeah, they were.
Not having to wear it does make me just feel a little bit more like, this oppressive time is behind us.
Yeah.
So,
you never know how much a smile can reveal the face of someone and make it more easily recognizable.
Yes.
I said hi to a few people in church because I thought we were supposed to wear a mask. I had my mask and they looked at me like, well, hello, but I don't think I know you. And once afterwards I took off the mask and go, oh, okay. Yeah, that's Jerry.
Aww.
So it's important how much a smile is, how much, So it's good. It feels really good.
And that leads us into our topic tonight about using our inner compass. And there's a lot of other words that you could use for that, like your intuition or, but really it is our inner compass, because it's almost like things are so different. Everything that we thought that we knew, the way to do things and how we did things is we can no longer, just go by what we see out the windshield. We have to use our instruments now, for lack of a better, analogy. But this time seems really chaotic, and it's really not. If you, look back in history, imagine what it was like during World War II, how scary it must have been, and how unsure everybody was, and fear on just so many levels. And compared to what we just went through, it's just new. So it seems, extra dramatic, but things really are more divided now than they've ever been. At most times in history, the country kind of came together, and now we seem to be more divided than ever. That cancel culture, people seem to be offended by different things so easily. And there's a lot of different ways to describe, what we've got going on. But I really feel like that the goal of the universe is sort of to get us to rely more on that inner compass, and to not feel like that we need to do things how we've done them before. We don't need to do things like our friends or our family or our coworkers expect, and really just kind of go on our own. But then that kind of leads me into, you and communicating with the other side, and knowing that our soul lives on forever, that we don't really ever die,
Right.
And how we would perceive those types of relationships and that type of communication as well.
Yeah, it's great points, Mary Ellen, and a great, again, you came up with a topic for conversation. I'm not nearly as creative as you, so I'm kind of all out of ideas for today anyway. But, a lot of people come to me for a reading, they want answers to questions.
Mm-hmm.
And hey, I'm the same way. I like answers, but, if I told somebody, I'd never do it because I never have the information, but let's say I had the information and Spirit said on August 5th, you're going to get something really good's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they sit around until, I know they would sit around until August 5th, missing all the beautiful and glorious things that happens. And so to me, a reading offers some clarity,
Mm-hmm.
but I'll get a lot of, what does the universe think about this? And the universe, spirit, God, spirit guides, your higher self, which
Mm-hmm.
to me is that connection with intuition or inner compass. I like the inner compass. They want us to use that. Edgar Cayce said the knowledge of the universe is within us, within us. And if we don't act, and that we can access that. I tell people all the time, I'm glad you come to me, but you don't need me to connect.
Right.
You may not connect the way I do. I may not connect the way you do, but you don't need me to connect. You have the capabilities to somehow channel and connect in different ways. But I've done some readings. I've really backed off on a lot of them in which they just wanted yes or no.
Mm-hmm.
And in the beginning, when I started
getting the reading, wanted yes or no.
Yeah, they wanted. Will I find a job?
Oh,
I understand that. I get that. Will I find love? Will my health be okay? And as opposed to, Jerry, can you tell me anything about career? And Spirit's glad to answer that. Can you tell me anything about my finances? Spirit is glad to answer. But will you find love? Yes or no? Well, if I was to say no, I mean, I don't know. I'm not Dr. Phil, I'm not as my wife reminds me, you're not a relationship expert. And I said, I don't know how to take that. I don't know where to go with that, but I know. And so that's not my job. That's not my mission and purpose. It's to provide some clarity so you can discover. It's beautiful when people discover. Now, they're going to pay me, and I get that. And they're going to want some clarity, some information. I would too. Whether it's somebody coming through but there's a lot of people just want direct answers to questions. We used to call them in sales close-ended questions that can be answered with a yes or no. Open-ended question would be, so tell me about your career. You can't answer that with a yes or no. Tell me about, and especially in relationship, I never tell anybody that person's the one. I can tell you the energy looks good today. Spirit's not going to allow me to look, but to use that inner compass to kind of navigate and find your way. Mm-hmm. It's empowering when we tell people that. It really is.
Mm-hmm.
And the universe wants to empower all of us to discover those gifts. And that's part of my mission and purpose, is so people do discover their gifts. And if they haven't discovered
readings, one of the best things that I come away with is confirmation. So if the reader might mention something I was thinking of or something that I was doing without giving me without me asking a question.
Yeah.
That's when you know that you're on the right path.
Yeah, there's every now and then I will ask a question. I don't mind asking questions. I'm not gathering information. I'm seeing if what I'm hearing is correct. I'm seeing if I'm on the right path, because nobody's 100% accurate, because then you'd be perfect. And nobody that I've ever met has been perfect. And we're not meant to be. We're meant to discover and explore and navigate and use all the tools that we have within us. I'm always excited to tell people about their gifts, what I'm getting about their gifts. I'm just excited about that. That really spiritually, turns me on, to that I can tell them through spirit can tell them through me. I'm sorry, the other way around. That, you have gifts, you have many gifts. And tonight when we're doing readings, I may tell everybody what gift that spirits tell me they have, in addition to whatever questions they have.
Right. And that is a form of using your inner compass. Is maybe somebody didn't plan to be here. Maybe they did, but they're going to hear something and then they're going to pay attention. A lot of times in reading, spirit might come through with a bit of information and they want you to ask questions before they're going to say any more, because then they know that you're ready to hear it. But if you just, if you're so busy taking notes that you're just you're not really thinking about what you're hearing, you may not hear anymore. And that's another example of trusting your inner compass.
It is. And when people say they want a general reading, or when people say they have questions, spirit has no problem with that. We have you and I and there'll be people on here. I'm already getting a sense that one person on here has really questioned her metaphysical gifts. Don't know who it is, but she'll hear something tonight. Maybe I'll give her a ring, but she will hear something tonight that will confirm what she's been feeling. And Spirit wants to use us to help heal. I don't heal anybody. The power of Spirit, in Catholicism we call it Holy Spirit, but Spirit, God, the universe, that's who heals, and that's who helps heal. And the person from within, I think that's why Deepak Chopra was so controversial, because he said, you have the power to heal yourself. This was a doctor, and everybody says, he's a fluke. And the man's only a, best-selling author of, I don't know how many books he's written. And hear him talk about the universe is just so glorious. I couldn't get to the book because it shoots over my head. So I had to watch him talk about his book that way. Excuse me. And look, this is the time we need healing. We need to be healed.
Yes. Let me totally go out in left field here.
Sure.
And let me ask you, when it said in the Bible, Jesus had been resurrected and he was now, what did he spend, like 30 days going around and visiting people? And there was a time, and I can't remember exactly the what book that it was in. They were praying. They were all in a room together and they were praying.
Yeah.
And with Jesus, and the Holy Spirit descended upon them.
Yeah. Yeah.
What was that?
Well, if you look at, I think if you've looked at or read the book The Shack or looked at the movie The Shack, and it's beautiful, the Holy Spirit is represented, or Spirit's represented by a Native American woman. Jesus looks like Jesus and God is a black woman, which I have no problem with that, since God is neither man nor a woman. So, but yeah, that's the energy that heals, is the Holy Spirit. Excuse me. It's the energy that completes the Trinity of God, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit. It's the energy that descends upon them. It really is like a dove, and the Trinity is
so
real
why
difficult.
wasn't it there before? Why did it suddenly appear then? Why wasn't it there before?
Yeah, from what I understand, it always was there, but they needed a physical person to kind of help manifest and bring it. And that's why I say, you look at Jesus, not to get into theology, but to me, Jesus was the human face of God. It was hard, still is hard for us to talk about God. What is God? Because his DNA is his. See, there I go. God's DNA is everywhere. In the laptop I'm using. Yeah, and us. We have, as Richard Rohr says, the DNA of the divine within us, because we were made by the Creator. And the Holy Spirit is something that just completes the Trinity, completes the energy, moves the energy around. When someone says in a Protestant religion that they're saved, it's the Holy Spirit that does that. We all think it's Jesus. It's the Holy Spirit that descends upon him. And when people talk in tongues, now, I can disagree with it, but that's because I don't understand it, and that's the Holy Spirit descending upon them. And it's a hard thing to describe, meaning I don't quite understand all about the Holy Spirit. I just know it's there. And, so.
I'm looking up that verse to see if I can find it.
Yeah. I don't know that I answered your question or offered any. But
no, I've always wondered about that when I read it. I wondered what actually occurred, and again, our topic is inner compass tonight, but they talked about when he died on the cross, that it got dark and the ground rumbled.
Yes. Yeah.
And again, I wish that I had these committed to memory, but again, what happened behind every miracle? There is some type of science explanation. It doesn't mean it's any less a miracle.
Right.
But I wondered what occurred, when that.
Yeah. I mean, when you talk to people my brother was God rest his soul, was a Methodist minister for 35 years. And I've heard other preachers and ministers talk about that time. And it was like validation to some people who said, holy cow. So this really was the Son of God at that point. And people can say he wasn't the only Son of God. Okay. God didn't appoint me to interpret anything.
Right.
But yeah, that was, and you look at.
He said, I am the way and the truth and the life. He didn't say he was the only way.
I don't know about that. Because if you say Christianity is the only way, then you're saying Jews and Muslims and Native Americans and atheists and agnostics are going to burn in hell. And
no, that's what I mean. He didn't say he was the only way. There's many paths to being Christed, to
absolutely. Because the remarkable thing is Christ wasn't Jesus's last name. He became Christ after he was resurrected. He Jesus was always Christ, right? Yeah, and that's where the Christ consciousness comes in connection with the universe. So anyway, by the way, copies of this Bible study with Mary Ellen and Jerry are oh my God, it's a sign from the universe.
She was so funny. I sat right down here and she just assumed the position. She just plopped down in her. So now she's going to sit on the keyboard. So
it's a cat's world. And I know it upsets dogs, but it's a cat's world.
Well, and maybe it's not an accident that we've kind of brought Jesus into this because, he was a master and, and he definitely was, the most well-known of any of the ascended masters that we know because, we've actually got some of the words that he actually spoke. But, going back to our inner compass and trusting what we know is right. And but what is right? That's another thing that I think is happening now as we're really kind of getting higher and higher in our vibration and things like that, that the polarization, the higher we go, the less polarization there is. So things are no longer good and bad, black and white, tall and narrow. I mean, it just is. So rather than saying, well, I'm going to do that because it's the right thing to do. Well, is it? Yeah. Maybe you need to revisit that. Maybe you're doing it because you feel like you should. Maybe why do you feel like you should?
Yeah, and a lot of times that's the ego talking. That's the ego just jumping in and saying, "Yeah, you ought to do that," even though intuition is like, "I don't think so." But especially with men, we don't listen to our intuition. We have intuition. We just don't listen. And I put myself at the top of the list. So many times I've gone, I hear myself go, it's not spirit guides. To me, guides have a different kind of voice. So to me, it's my higher self going, it's not a good idea, Jerry. And then I'll hear it again. I'm like, shut up. I know what I'm doing. And of course, it turns out I don't know what I'm doing. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Maria.
This is just the perfect time to revisit all of those things and to honestly just second guess everything. And, we can, the universe will lead us or it will drag us. It's your choice.
It's like I'm writing this book on the soul and I've never written this much this quickly. And I've stopped reading and looking at things on the soul because it's impacting my my ability to write. It's influencing my writing because I've heard so many great things and go, that's a good line. And my intuition go, that's not your line. I go, okay. And when I hear something, even a little part of it, To me, that's the intuition going, that's an aha moment, Jerry. Just quickly type it down. And so I've got 6.5 pages now, single space, one sentence notes. So I probably have 300 to 400 sentences. And,
Mm-hmm.
and that's, again, using your inner compass.
Mm-hmm.
I can't depend upon my last 2 books to guide me the way. This is an entirely different book on the soul. Has
Mm-hmm.
very little to do with mediumship or psychic abilities. It's just a subject that I just never treated it as serious, or I never took a second look. And that's
Mm-hmm.
when Spirit said, not my intuition, but Spirit said, his next book needs to really be about the soul. I went, you're kidding.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you gotta be kidding. And I know I'm on the right track, because about every other day I'll write a sentence or two. I go, I've got almost all the chapters not laid out, but I think in the fall it'll take me 6 to 8 months to put it together. So maybe the back half of 2022, maybe.
Okay.
But that's that, to me, the Holy Spirit descended upon them was like, you can see things differently. I'm not saying the Holy Spirit or Spirit descended upon me, but I think for the apostles, they could see things differently.
Mm-hmm.
And they could see things as they, it's like, I just posted a quote by the famous psychologist, it might have been psychiatrist Carl Jung, who's just a brilliant guy.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, synchronicity, I'm going to paraphrase, it's meant for people who can see it, who can see that.
Yes.
And again, I paraphrase horribly. But it was such a good, I put it on Facebook. So anyway.
I think that once we notice it too, yes, when we start to notice the little synchronicities,
yeah,
that I do think that we will have more of them. And some things have happened to me. In fact, a lot of things which have almost been like creepy, scary, because so much synchronicity is played into some of these things. I decided I was going to change my dog's dog food. And I wanted to go to, well, it's a long story, but I wanted a salmon dog food with no chicken in it. And even most of the lamb and the salmon dog food still have chicken in it.
They have some, yeah.
Food, yeah. So I researched, and there's a Tractor Supply near me, which I love, because then I can go chirp at the chicks and ducks that are in there while I'm there.
Sure.
Anyway, so I drove down there, and the food's expensive. It's $50 a bag probably. And I go in the door, and I'm just, bopping along, and there is a pallet right inside the door full of that brand of dog food. And I go look, and it's the exact kind of food that I wanted. And the very top bag has a sticker on it that says 50% off. And I said, what? So I looked at it, and I'm trying to figure out, is it expired? Why is it 50% off? Well, apparently a big thing with them is when they cut the boxes open, they'll cut open some of the bags by accident. So that's a big thing. People try to come every day looking for different pet foods, then they'll get it at half off.
Yeah.
And so all I did was just slap some tape on it. They said it never sits there more than 2 days being open like that. So I just thought, how lucky am I? I felt like I won the lottery, it was just saving me like $25. But into my mind, I was like, yes, I want more of these things. And then you can kind of focus on that and, kind of, then you start to expect it, and you find the universe will just find new ways to surprise you, with things like that. So
it's, it's like, it's just like pieces of a puzzle that we don't know we're putting together at the time.
Right.
And all of a sudden we look up and go, well, hey, I didn't see that coming.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, it's good stuff. And it's tough for me to quiet myself. It really is. And so I'm still working on it. I'm not an expert on meditation. I need to get back to that. And I feel that if my thoughts are busy or my thoughts are wandering, that they always do, that prevents me from ascending higher. I'm not listening. Yeah. And so I pray, I say, just help me listen. Mm-hmm. God, universe, spirit guides, higher self. Mm-hmm. Help me listen. Third eye, help me see. And, before we do this every night or every other Wednesday, I pray that my spirit guide, my main spirit guide, talks with the spirit guides of the people. And I said, what do they need? What do they covet? What do they want?
Mm-hmm.
And let's do our best to give it to them.
Mm-hmm. That's great. So the one of the things I touched on earlier was about re-examining why we think certain things are right. And if we can start to even question what is right, what does that mean?
Yeah.
You know, why is something that we think is right? An example, is it right to stay on the curb when a bus is coming down the street? Obviously, that's right. But is it right to feel obligated to be nice to somebody you don't really enjoy their company?
Yeah.
It's time to examine some of those things and think, why am I doing this? Why do I feel compelled to do this? Maybe you don't really need to be around that person, but you just sort of are doing things out of routine and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And you don't need to feel bad about making changes in different relationships and the way that you do things and routines and things like that. Really, really examining that. Just because of that, the higher in the vibration that we goes in, and as we know, the Schumann resonance is really increasing on the planet too. It goes up and down.
Yeah, somebody just posted something on Facebook. It was really great stuff.
Yeah, there's been days where it's been crazy, like just, so the planet is ascending along with us, which is all completely part of that 20,000 year evolution that it's on. That's how we know, that we're going through all of these cycles. So
when are you going to teach your metaphysical class?
I need to get doing that. Especially now that quarantine and pandemic and everything are kind of behind us. I do need to do that. So,
okay.
If anybody is interested in maybe participating in that, I live kind of far outside of Orlando now too. That's another.
That's all right. You don't live that far.
No, but from you live like in another planet compared to where I live now. I'm 2-3 counties away. So
that's okay.
I'd love to meet in person if we could find a place. So
I think it'd be great. I really do.
All right. If anybody else is interested, you can, and we do go back and look at the stream of this well after the show and do see comments. So you can put comments in there, or you can always send us a message here through Facebook or YouTube, and let us know, what
now it might be hard for our Irish friends to attend in person.
Yes. So maybe we'll have to go have a class there in Ireland. Wouldn't that be awesome? I got my passport, so.
I love Ireland. Been there twice. Oh my gosh, what a beautiful country. What beautiful people.
Oh, sure. We're going to get to the readings here shortly. So everybody that said that they would like to hear. Now, Melissa Dosher, I think you're still on here. I want to make sure, because sometimes people kind of wander away. But I do want to remind everybody, if you would like more information on Jerry, his website is jmacmedium.com. Our website is sanctuaryfl.com. That's FL like Florida. And always check that as often as you can, because we do post new things. We're working on a suggested reading list. And then we're going to have those books on our website too. There's so many.
I hope mine are on that website.
Autographed copies only.
There you go. I'm sorry, I interrupted.
No, that's fine. But we want to kind of itemize it by topic, because there's just so many different topics that people might be interested in. So, and then I'm going to put up a little ticker here, your email address. If people would like to subscribe to Jerry's newsletter, email him at jmacmedium@gmail.com. Easy enough.
Yes, every month it's a one-page newsletter. We have about 350 people. Out of 350 people, I don't know how many read it, but I do get a couple of comments here and there. Let's face it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. And it's always posted on my website. Excuse me. Let's face it. We get deluged with a lot of emails. So I get it. I fully get it. That's why we put it on the website.
Right. Okay. Are you ready to maybe do some readings?
Yes. Very excited.
Let me turn off the ticker here. There we go. And our first person who would like a message, let me find her, is Melissa. She would like a message from Spirit.
I know this person. We know this person, don't we?
Maybe.
I think I know this person. I know her just with my memory. I had to take a cognitive test the other day, 2.5 hours in a seat.
Wow.
I don't think I did very well. So that's why my memory's not the greatest. I recognize names, but all right. So, okay. So there's a male coming through. This has a father-like essence. Older. Maybe a grandfather, but they have a different essence in the spirit realm. So this is a father-like figure. And okay, he just stepped back. It's like spirit wanted to step forward. And I say step forward. I don't see spirit, but I can feel and sense. It's like spirit wanted to step forward and say something. And I got the word suffocation, like I feel suffocated. Hopefully not actual, but just like so much pressure is on me to do. Here we go. So much pressure is on me to do the right thing that I don't know what the right thing is anymore. Oh my gosh, that's just what Mary Ellen was talking about. And here we go. And Melissa, your intuition is strong. Your insights, you have, holy cow, I've never heard this phrase. Melissa, you have sacred insights. I'm going to have to write that down. That's a good one. I've never heard that. Sacred insights. And I'm going to use Mary Ellen's because I like that inner compass, because so many times we just don't know which way to go. And so Spirit is saying, go to the place, that people least expect. It doesn't have to be a physical place. Do the unexpected. Do something that people would go, what? But it's gonna reignite, reinvigorate, and just bring so much space to your soul. Okay, now that man is coming in. Again, could be father-in-law, someone's like a father to you, but he looks older. Unless it was a grandfather that was like a father to you. He's poured himself a glass of JB Scotch. This is very specific. And first I got the initials JB, and then all of a sudden I saw the bottle of JB. I used to be in the liquor business years ago, and I recognized, is it JB or JB? I can't remember. Anyway, it's been a while. And he's pouring himself a small drink, and you know who he reminds me of? If you've ever watched the movies John Wick, and the guy who's the manager of the Continental Hotel, famous actor, can't think of his name, that's who he looks like now. He's sitting back and drinking, and he says, remember the lessons. He says, I remember the lessons you taught me. Remember the lessons and use your intuition. Use that knowledge and enlightenment. And it's almost like you've had, Melissa, an epiphany lately, and they're like, hey, wait, and you're like, hey, wait a minute. Big psychic abilities and clairvoyance. I love that. I don't get many clairvoyant people, but big psychic abilities. And your inner compass is so true. I'm seeing a man with a compass. I think this is a spirit guide, almost like an explorer. I almost said Dora the Explorer. My kids growing up, Dora the Explorer. But this is a man, and he is representative of your inner compass. He is a representative of your inner compass. So for the first time ever, I think I'm seeing a higher self in a physical form, which I didn't know was possible, because it is connected to you, and he's going to help you show you the way, but by speaking to you. And this man sitting in a chair, loves you very much and thanks you for the lessons you taught him. And I can't, Mary, I can't tell, or Melissa, I can't tell if it's a father or somebody like a father. It's something about a tragic, and I'm getting tragic fall. Doesn't mean that's how he passed, but tragic fall. And the last thing he said, he's proud of you. Don't worry or beat yourself up about the mistakes you're making, because everybody makes them. But remember all the good choices you're making. Remember the really smart choices you're making. See, you're listening. There we go. You're listening. I'm patting myself on the chest. Um, so I'm gonna, Melissa, that's what I've got for you tonight. I wish you peace and blessings. And there's some kind of upcoming meeting or conference she's going to attend or something. It's a gathering that's going to be more epiphanies coming her way because she listens.
Wonderful.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for that.
Thanks, Melissa.
Michelle Barrett, if you're still online, send us a message, but we'll go ahead to the next question. Nicole. Grandmother just passed away a few weeks.
Oh, Nicole, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. She comes through real strong. She's very spiritual, but she's showing me swinging a cane, which is a symbol for feisty, but feisty. And she saw, this is funny, she saw angels on her way out. It's like on her way out, she saw angels. And she saw a lot of ascended masters. She's mentioning Buddha, who was an ascended master. She just said Muhammad, who's I believe is an ascended master. I'm pretty sure. She's listing about half a dozen ascended masters. They all kind of said, we're here to learn from her, not from her, from me. So this is a very wise woman. The passing was turbulent. And for a moment I heard horrendous, but I don't like to use that word. They're giving me another word. It's turbulent. So it may not have been the easiest of passing, but she's without pain, and she's driving, which I felt there's a period in her life where she didn't drive, for a long time, and maybe she never drove. I don't know, but she's driving now. In fact, she's driving real crazy, running people off the road, and said, "You've become such a beautiful woman." She goes in a short amount of time. I don't know what that means. That's her. That's not Jerry, because I know you, Nicole, and you are a beautiful person inside out. And here it comes. I heard this earlier today, so maybe you're the one. I don't know if, Nicole, you're looking at writing a book of poems or you just bought a book of poems, but there's something about poetry, which is way out of my wheelhouse, that she's talking about. It's almost like you talk poetic. There's something about poems. I say there's a connection with poems. And she's sorry she didn't get to articulate to you or say to you what she wanted to say, that she loves you very much. Thanks for always listening to her. She said, thanks for taking care of her. Now, this is her words. I don't know if you're a caregiver, caretaker, or what for a short amount of time, but she's, and thanks for speaking for me. Thanks for speaking for me and letting my intentions be known. So she's thanking you for all this, and you may have to interpret that. But so I don't know, Nicole, if you're married. It's none of my business, but she's saying, don't let that guy get away. And I don't know if it's relationship or if it's a coworker. It's not like they've done anything bad. It's like they're a good person, Don't let that person. Let me just say that person. Don't let that person get away, because there's much to learn. There's still, like this person, been knowing this person for years, still much to learn. And she blows you kisses, gives you a hug, and she puts a scarf, really multicolored, green, blue, a little bit of yellow, but glittery. I have a scarf just like this, seriously, that when I was in a circle to attract my spirit guide, teal was her favorite color. So I got this scarf with teal, and I was able to connect with her. Anyway, that's what I have for Nicole.
Okay, so that's beautiful. Yeah, she did get to spend some time, she said, with her grandmother before she passed. So she appreciates the messages. So all right, let's go over to Michelle. She would like a message from Spirit, please.
Well, and now I think it's time for me to sing a song. The Beatles, Michelle. I'm sorry. And viewership just plummeted. Okay, first thing I'm getting from Spirit is be a daredevil, take a chance, take a leap of faith. You're playing it cautious, and I understand. I play it cautious all the time, but and Spirit says that's okay. But okay, here comes a grandfather. Is a grandfather, great grandfather. This has a huge grandfather-like essence. And he says, we're all cheering for you up here. Now we know the universe is around us. Spirit realm is around us, but we always kind of go up here, like heaven's up here. And you know what? HE double hockey sticks is down there. But Spirit is saying, please take a chance. You won't be sorry. Please take a leap of faith. This involves something you've been thinking about for a while. Excuse me. It may involve, let's see what it does involve. Golly, it involves a lot. And when I say it involves a lot, I'm saying, I have Spirit. So is this a relationship? Is this work related? Is this a move coming up? And it's almost like Spirit said all of the above. So, and a move could mean moving to a different company, or moving to a different department, or moving to another state. I don't know, but there is a move coming up. And it's like I'm getting from Michelle, like she can connect with Spirit, like she hears her loved ones. And that's a beautiful gift, Michelle. I don't have that gift. Not that it's anything extraordinary, but you should know not everybody has that gift. And so in that sense, Michelle has mediumship abilities and capabilities. And I forgot to mention, Spirit just said, you didn't tell Nicole what her gifts were. And Nicole, your gifts are reading the energies around people, reading the auras, or looking at the auras and colors. So I want to make sure I cover Nicole on that. But this grandfather said, very proud of you. It's okay to stand your ground. It's okay to be the voice in the crowd that says this isn't right. So someone like social justice is real big with you, Michelle. Or people who do wrong things, that should not be allowed. So continue that social justice. Continue, Michelle, listening to Spirit, because I do think you hear loved ones. It's almost like you're going, well, what's that? What's that noise? Who's talking? And it's almost like too, you're coming out of a sleep and you hear, or you're awakened by voices. And that's okay. It's nothing bad. It's nothing negative. It's good. They're talking to you. And I think your mediumship is going to expand. Anyway, Michelle, I'll leave that with you. Thank you.
That was wonderful.
Okay. I promise, Michelle, if you're ever on here again, which hopefully you will be on YouTube, I won't sing. I promise.
Oh,
we need audience members. We don't need them to go away.
We'll work on it. We'll work on a duet. Okay, going on to our next. So we've had Melissa, Michelle, and now another Michelle Harris would like a reading. Or just a quick.
Here you go, Michelle.
I'm gonna just there's a slide.
All right. Sorry, Michelle. I get the feeling this is one of the first times you've had a reading. I think you've had readings before, and there's something about tarot cards or palm reading or something, which are gifts. Just because I don't understand them doesn't mean they're not gifts. I mean, I understand them, but that's not in my it's not my modus operandi. Anyway, that's not how I work. Okay, there you go. And so there is the desire to know more about yourself and know more about this is from Spirit, and more about the relationships that you have. There is one relationship that I think was on again, off again. I feel a strong feeling about it. Again, I don't know if you're married or what, it doesn't matter to me. I don't tell people this is the person or that's the person, but I do feel a relationship that is on again, off again. Is going to be on for a little while. Again, folks, please, I can't fully predict the future. Nobody can. God gives us unconditional will, or free will, so we can change it. It could change tomorrow, but on the path you're on today, you're very good at relationships, and this one seems to be on again. All right, so this is a motherly figure. If you've ever watched the 70s show, it looks like that mom in the 70s show, like, who I thought was hysterical. Yeah, and she has just said, bloom where you're planted, which I'm familiar with that phrase. And you're like a flower and you're blooming. And she just says, it's beautiful to see. It's like you're coming into your own, and you're never too late for that. And I have no idea how old you are, but I came into my gifts in my mid-50s. I don't think you're that old, but I don't know. And something about a car. Either you're going to buy a car, you think about buying a car, and Spirit now is saying, wait about 30 days, the prices are going to go down. I know.
You can all use.
Yeah, now everybody's going to go out and buy a car. And in 30 days, the price is going to go up, and they're going, damn it, Jerry. I'm just telling you, they're telling you, Michelle, and the 30 days or 3 or 4 weeks might be worth waiting. There's something about how you spell your first name that tells me almost like you're named after somebody. There's something, when I look at a name, I can get a certain energy. There's certain energy around your first name that indicates it's connected to 2 or 3 or 4 generations. It's almost like she has a Bulgarian or Ukrainian, and I don't connect names, Marianne, with countries. Mm-hmm. So Michelle, I'm just giving you what I get. There's and I don't know if she's done a DNA, but and I'm sorry if I'm going faster. Information is coming through really quick. But there's a desire to know more about where she is from. So anyway, okay. I'll leave that with you, Michelle. The woman says, was it a woman? See, here's my memory. Was it a woman or a man that came through? I'm sorry, Michelle. My memory is just shot. I think it is a woman. And last thing she said is being true. Please be true to yourself, no matter what other people say. And your intuition is real high, which means you're listening to your higher self. Yeah. So anyway, I'll leave that with you, Michelle. Thank you.
Sounds good. Okay, thank you. All right, we'll go over to Maura.
Maura, I know this person. Memphis, Tennessee. Well, from that area, Memphis, Tennessee. I think she lives in Mississippi. Psychically, I feel she lives. No, I'm just kidding. So Spirit is saying, and again, I'm looking down. It helps me focus on the area rug that my wife bought me for my little loft office type thing. It's not an office, it's a loft. Spirit's saying the end, that is almost near, but the end to a lot of struggles are going to start to, let me rephrase that. I'm sorry, Maura. Relief for a lot of the struggles. Again, I always say the universe is a dimmer switch. It's not an on-off switch. So it's going to be a little bit brighter this summer. So some relief from people who have passed are going to really focus their energy. Like Mary Ellen said, the world's crazy. It's not just a political thing. It's just the world's crazy, which means to me, we're accelerating. And we just can't understand it. And a lot of people in the spirit realm are going to be coming through in the next 3 to 4 months. Is what I'm being told. It's going to be easier. The veil's going to be thin. And so for you and all that you and your family's been through, there is some relief. There's some sunshine coming your way. Not in an epiphany, but in more easier times, because you've had so many traumatic events, because we've done readings before, but you've had so many traumatic events that it's hard to even breathe without thinking about it. And This is where, as Marianne has said so beautifully, this is where the inner compass will help you navigate, will help you find out what is spirit. What am I thinking about? Why am I thinking about? Why I'm having these thoughts? And the minute those thoughts kind of go away a little bit, the negative thoughts, which we all have, Mara, the road to ascension is a little bit higher and easier to talk to your loved ones. Easier to talk to your loved ones. We talked about before the males in the family, and it doesn't mean that trend continues. Just means there were some males that have issues. Like in my family, all the males had heart diseases or didn't live very long, which I'm trying my best to avoid that. So know that these things are going to ease up, Mara, and not to paint a rosy picture, but some easier times where you can breathe and spirit wants you to go outside. You're in a part of the country where outside is just so gorgeous. Not so much here in Florida, and seriously, unless you're on the coast, and that's gorgeous. Or you're in a small rural area, but where I live in Castleberry, and the houses are just about on top of each other. In fact, I can tell you what the next door neighbors had for dinner tonight. No, I'm just kidding. But expect that will come, that things will get a little bit brighter and you can breathe a little bit more. Thank you, Mara.
That's wonderful news. That's great.
Yeah.
I looked up while you were talking a while ago about to go back to our topic tonight, which is about inner compass, and we do have time for one more reading. So I hope everybody will hold out with me.
Cool.
We were talking about when Jesus said that he will come again.
Yeah.
And I feel like I want to end our discussion part with kind of reading a little bit more into what he said. And I'm reading from the New International Version, which, as you know, all the different types of the Bible. And this isn't, we're not going to get into this is now the Bible study. Jesus was a master, and he is one of the few masters where we really actually have his words. And that is why I think that it's important. So it's John 14. And one of the things it says, my Father's house has many rooms. Jesus is saying this.
Yes.
Father. So what exactly do you think he means?
Many rooms, right? To me means, and when he says he comes again, everybody talks about the rapture. To me means he comes.
Talk about that one sentence.
Yeah.
My Father's house has many rooms.
Meaning it's a big tent. To me, it's a big tent.
It means the dimensions. It means the world, the upper, as above, so is below. The other side.
Everybody is welcome. And when we recognize the ascended masters, they come into our heart.
Mm-hmm.
For some, it's like I said, it's Buddha. For some, it's Muhammad. For some, there's 3 ascended masters that I'm supposed to be working with, but I think they're looking at me going, I don't think so.
Let me go on to say, if that were not so, would I have told you that I am going there to prepare a place for you? Because he's already been resurrected. So again, think about what exactly that he's saying, rather than, I think a lot of his words are so misinterpreted.
Well, they are. And back then, if he had said dimensions, people would have gone,
right. Because he wanted to talk in analogies in ways that everybody could relate. So he says, and if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come back and take you to be with me, that you may also be where I am.
Yeah.
Then he says, the way to the place where I'm going. So that was when he goes on to say, I am the way and the truth and the life. So that's what I really feel like that he was getting at was that we just need to be like him, and just, not really kind of over, saturate ourselves in 3D and all of the, issues that we see that come along with 3D. So, that's it, that we're going to go. And I think that's where we're going. I think that we're even starting to experience 5D even while we're here in 3D, and that it feels weird. We don't really understand. And anyway, that's another show, another time.
Well, no, you look at this real quick. You look at Jesus and the other ascended masters, they talk by stories.
Right.
Because again, a lot of people back then didn't know how to read or write.
Right.
So they taught about, and that's one of his parables. He never was big on quoting the Old Testament, the Jewish scriptures. They were around. And again, I know it's a broken record. What's that?
And he was Jewish.
And he was Jewish. And the 10 Commandments around, he only quoted 2. He didn't go around quite, because people tell me something I can understand.
Right.
Relate to me.
Right.
And they understood rooms, they understood mansions, or big houses, and they understood that, but different levels of portals and dimensions and
right.
What?
And that's where we're going.
Yeah.
He will come again, or will we just end up where he is? He said he's gonna, but he's there for us. He, is trying to show us the way. So regardless of whatever spiritual path you're on, if you're religious or not, there really is some really good pearls, in there. So, all right, we've got one more reading here, and guess where Molly Kelly is from.
Well, with a name like that, she's not from Tennessee. I can tell you that. Oh, Kelly was my mom's maiden name. It's the middle name of my oldest son. His name is Patrick Kelly McDaniel.
That's a good Irish name.
And and our youngest granddaughter is named Kelly. So we're Irish, Scottish too, but come on, Molly Kelly, holy cow. All right, so Molly, there is a trip coming up. I sensed this immediately. I saw you, don't know what part of Ireland you're in, but saw you, and all of a sudden I saw you going. I don't know if it's to another part of Ireland. I've been there twice, but mainly with the southwest coast, or Galway, near Galway, where Galway Bay is. And if I miss, it's been several years. There's a trip. No, I think this is I just heard Europe. And so I know Ireland, but I mean, there's a trip coming up. Or I don't know if you're planning it. I don't know if this is a family. I don't know, but this will give you much joy and much relief. And that's a curious word for spirit to use, relief. Like I want to go there. Okay, so now I'm hearing something about Germany. Right around there in the Baltic Sea. I've taken that cruise and we visited 7, 8, 9 countries, whatever. And so there's something about Germany, something about the Baltic Sea. I do feel like you're a medium. I really do feel your gifts are of mediumship. And I just think you sense when loved ones are near you. And again, that's a beautiful gift. Not everybody has that gift. I don't have that gift. I know a lot of people don't have that gift. So I just sense, and if all you got to do is quieten yourself, be quiet and meditate a little bit, you can light a candle. I always suggest lighting a candle, Molly, because that's a beacon to the universe. To me, that's like a beacon to the universe. Light attracts light. I know it's supposed to be like attracts light, but to me, light attracts light. And if you sit for just 5 or 10 minutes, I feel you've tried meditating before too. And maybe it didn't work for you, or maybe it did. I don't know. But I'm just feeling very strongly about meditating and getting to know more of your answers that go way, way back. I'm talking 3, 4, 5. And maybe that's why I'm getting the DNA and the ancestry and all that stuff with you. A change in jobs, or an opportunity in more finances coming up. I think I've seen there was a break in your work there for a while. Could be because of pandemic. I don't know how that's affecting Ireland, but I get it here in the States, surely. But I think you're in line. See, I keep looking at that phrase you use, in line. And Spirit said, that's a really good phrase, in line. So I'm going to use, I think you're in line for more finances, better financial position, more financial stability, which is great to always hear. The opportunity is going to come along, Molly, when you least expect, or somewhere that you said, gosh, I never thought of that. And that's the universe saying, well, think of this. It could be worth it. And the last thing, Molly, I've got, there's somebody from the world of spirit. This is like a sister or sister-in-law, or somebody who's like a sister, or maybe I'm just getting sister. I'm getting someone in their 30s or so. And if I look at her picture, when I'm trying not to look at pictures, she doesn't look like she's 30. But I'm just telling you, this person seems to be late 20s, early 30s, maybe even mid 30s. And so I don't know who this person is, but she says something about a soccer match. She's talking about a soccer match. Yeah, there's a sport they play in Ireland. I don't understand it because the announcers were talking, and I'm going to say this Gaelic. It's probably not the way you pronounce that, so I apologize, Molly. It's almost like there's something connecting with her in that sport. First it was soccer, then it was that sport. It wasn't. I understand rugby. I know field hockey, lacrosse. I know all those, but this was a different sport. And this female sister loves you very much and says, watch calcium deposits. This is her. I'm not a doctor. On your knee, I'm rubbing my right knee, but I always rub my right knee. So it may not be my right knee. It could be your left knee, but just watch. And something about walking on rocks. I know there's cobblestone over there, what we call cobblestone here in the States, and just watch. And I know this is a guy would never say this. She says she likes your new pair of cute shoes you just bought. See, men don't talk like that because we don't know what cute shoes look like. And I'll leave that, Molly. And thank you for, my gosh, staying up for this. God bless you.
Yes. Yes.
Please join us again, Molly. She's been here before, hasn't she?
I think maybe it's been some while, but I do remember her name. So and we love it when we have Irish visitors. So thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you, Molly.
And we've gone way over our time, unfortunately. So we do need to sign off for tonight. But Jerry will be back in 2 weeks and with a new topic and more readings for people. And we hope everyone will join us. You can go to our website to find out exactly when, or Facebook or YouTube. We'll have the information there. But our website is sanctuaryfl.com. Jerry's website is jmacmedium.com if you'd like a reading or to find out more information. And again, everybody, we really appreciate you being here. And thank you, Jerry, for your time and your wonderful gift.
Thank you, everybody. God bless. Thank you.
And have a good evening, everybody. Bye-bye.